Mike Tyson has issued a stern warning to Jake Paul, and he is rumored to threatening a $350 million lawsuit if Paul cancels their highly anticipated boxing match.
Jake, same fate. I'm gonna knock out Jake Paul.
Buckle up, boxing fans, because this one between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul just went way more explosive than we ever thought possible. With a cool $350 million dangling in the balance, legal threats coming from many corners, and drama almost as hard as the fight itself, let's zero in on these wild plot twists. Now, Mike Tyson, yes. The Mike Tyson rumor is that he is threatening to sock Jake Paul with a $350 million lawsuit in case he bails on them. Yes, that is correct. Mike Tyson issued a dire warning to Jake Paul of a $350 million lawsuit if Paul were to call off their long-awaited boxing match. That's a move unprecedented in any respect, signaling huge financial and promotional stakes that were attached to the event. The YouTuber-turned-boxer Jake Paul faces much pressure to push through with the fight, lest he risks serious legal and financial concerns. These are the rumors floating around the web, and everybody's abuzz over them. Now, let me break it down for you. Jake Paul is a YouTuber-turned-boxer who has been making waves in the scene of boxing lately. Better known by his ring name, the Problem Child. Jake Paul has been taking on these high-profile matches and making tons of noise. Frankly, a lot of controversy. Either people love him or love to hate him, but the fact that he's really bringing a lot of attention to the sport, just can't deny it. On the other hand, it's Mike Tyson, the legendary heavyweight champion who has been a household name for literally decades. It was a tremendous career that Tyson had behind him, and now he steps back into the ring for this huge event. These two are supposed to face off in what is billed to be one of the biggest fights ever. Fans are very excited, tickets are selling fast, and everyone's cranking up their engines to watch this epic showdown. Then, out of space or something, rumors begin to spread that Jake Paul may pull out of the fight. Maybe the pressure got to him, maybe he was having second thoughts about his decision, or maybe other reasons exist which we don't know of. Whatever the case may be, it seemed like he was thinking of pulling the plug on this whole thing. Now this is where things get interesting. Mike Tyson isn't one to lie down and take it on the chin from anyone. He's a competitor, a very astute businessman. Basically, he's saying, "Not on my watch." He has allegedly made crystal clear with them that if Jake Paul wants to cancel, then he is going to sue him for $350 million. I mean, can you even imagine that kind of money? That kind of money is enough to spin any head. Now, why Tyson would go to such great lengths is that from his point of view, this fight is not just a sport, it's big business. There are millions in pay-per-view revenue, sponsorships, and every other form of financial stake. Tyson has a lot invested in this fight and isn't going to let it fall apart because Jake Paul gets cold feet. In threatening this lawsuit, Tyson is sending an indelible message. You better show up or you're going to pay a huge price. This places Jake Paul in an awkward position. As for a guy known for his loud, raucous ways, the pressure in this situation is next level. Of course, it is not just about letting your ohana down or losing out on a big payday, but not having the fight raises the chance of a $350 million lawsuit that could painfully affect his career and bank account. Even with all the money he's made from YouTube, boxing, and other ventures, it is quite an amount for one to lose. $350 million will hurt anyone. This whole ordeal adds drama from a fan perspective, including flair, into the lead-up of the fight. Now it is no longer a tale of who is going to win inside that ring. It is a question of whether a fight is on. High are the stakes, up there, the anticipation. People are really caught up in the saga, trying to guess what Jake Paul will do next and how Tyson will react. So now let's zoom out just a bit and look at the bigger picture there. Generally speaking, whatever this embodies, it's a pretty interesting dynamic in celebrity boxing. These high-profile fights have turned out to be a big trend in which celebrities and influencers now jump into the ring and attract very huge audiences because it is now a mix of sport, entertainment, and big business. But with all this attention and money on the line, it also brings a lot of potential for legal battles and contractual disputes, just like we're seeing now. It is a strategic move for Tyson to threaten to file a case himself. All of this hype and preparation is not to go in vain, so it's all to protect his interests. And honestly, from the business point of view, that would make sense. He's putting his foot down, basically saying, "You cannot mess with this. If you do, it really gets serious." He is flexing his muscle to show just what high stakes there are in these events. For Jake Paul, this is the moment of truth. He has grown his brand off the back of being fearless and facing big challenges, but now really comes the time to see if he can reflect on the outcomes of his actions. By canceling the fight, he won't just be walking away from a match, he'll be faced with a potential financial disaster. Let's be real, $350 million isn't one of those numbers that can be dismissed by anyone. It will have them all thinking still again before making a move. What does all this mean for celebrity boxing in the future then? Well, it kind of goes two ways. This might just be one more thing to pile some attention on these things. It's the high-stakes drama getting them even bigger and more popular. However, it will also make fighters and organizers in this new trend even more cautious at the same time, with the knowledge that huge legal and financial consequences can occur if things go wrong. We would probably have longer contracts and more safeguards in place that would prevent such types of disputes from arising thereafter. But let us not start writing history before it's time. For now, Tyson and Paul own the spotlights, and everyone wonders, will Jake Paul be compelled to fight, or most likely face the massive lawsuit and fallout? This is a real cliffhanger and has got everyone on their toes. Besides, if the fight comes to pass, the spectacle and the event surrounding it will be enormous. Tyson is a force all by himself. He's old, but he has that spirited experience, power, and an aura. He is a legend in his own right. Tyson was terrifying in his prime. He was so fast and he would use angles and bob and weave. You couldn't touch him. He was just on his way back to you. He was young, 20 years old at the time, and just looking unstoppable. None of them found the answer. Now, if I might add, a prime Mike Tyson who won the title against greatness like Trevor Berbick, the Mike Tyson who beat Larry Holmes, is simply the best heavyweight of all time. Mike Tyson was a monster you see in a nightmare, and you wake up in ecstasy as you realize it was just a dream. No way was anybody looking to mess with Mike Tyson. Tyson was just storming the gates in his prime, and I'd put Mike Tyson up against anybody that ever lived. That guy was just a throwback fighter, a juggernaut. It was like another model of fighter that has operated in the history of the heavyweight division. A destroyer in which each fight felt like an execution. I mean, savage, destructive, accurate, and precise. Everything just seemed to be perfect. On the other hand, Jake Paul, despite all the skepticism, proved he really could fight. He's young, he's hungry, and he's got a point to prove. What's interesting about this fight is the generation gap, the style mismatch, and the personality conflict. But more than the physical fight, it is the psychological battle that is truly intriguing. Tyson's threat of a lawsuit is just his way to get that edge on Jake Paul, heaping up another level of pressure. So, what might Paul's response be? Will it make him rise up and use it as fuel, or will it just simply be too much pressure to handle? Those are the questions that make watching sports so compelling. Not to mention the fans, the people making this all possible with their support and eagerness for it to happen. The anticipation, debate, prediction, it's half of the fun. People are already picking sides and arguing over who is going to win and what might happen. This lawsuit threat just adds fuel to the fire, making the lead-up to the fight even more intense. In the boxing community, rumors have circulated that this bout might get canceled. It was supposed to be a monstrous union of old school into new school boxing with a social media influx and celebrity matches. People are excited for this one. Tickets were like hotcakes and the hype was a whole lot of hype. So when it broke that it was off, everyone had something to say. The boxing community has reacted in a varied and wide manner. The word is Floyd Mayweather, who definitely knows one or two things about some high-profile freaky fights, had to say, "Quite a shame that the fight fell through. I was really looking forward to it like many fans out there, but these things happen in boxing." So, hopefully we see both of them in the ring soon, maybe against other opponents. While Mayweather's take is pretty diplomatic, acknowledging the disappointment, so to speak, but hinting at the unpredictability of this sport, rumor has it that UFC fighter Conor McGregor took another angel. The general feeling on his tweet was, "What a joke. This was bound to happen. You can't just throw these fights together and expect them to go off without a hitch. Time to get serious about fight prep and respect the sport." Boxing is a multi-billion-dollar business, always involving huge names and high-stake matches. Amir Khan versus Jake Paul is just one of those fights where numbers from pay-per-view can be colossal, where sponsorships can be plentiful and where media coverage can be larger than life. It's a win-win. The promoters get a blockbuster event, the fans get a scintillating fight, and the fighters have a shot to prove their mettle yet again on the big stage. But it may be his greatness reclaiming moment. He has been in the longest, but he has never fought anybody like Jake Paul. This would not be a fight in its physical nature alone. It would also be a fight in garnering the hearts of the new age boxing fans. Of course, Amir Khan's great experience and hanging around in shape make this one especially interesting. This could prove all doubters wrong once and for all in the career of Jake Paul. That he isn't just a social media star, but much more. He's been training and preparing like a real boxer to be taken seriously in the sport. Engaging with somebody of Khan's caliber keeps him on the right path. Khan would be massive for his credibility and career. Even if can't win, just stepping into the ring with a fighter of Khan's stature is a statement within itself. It's a very interesting dynamic between the two. Everyone is familiar with Amir Khan's slick and fast technical skills. Ring IQ, with the experience of fighting some of the best in the sport, he knows it all. Jake Paul brings a completely new unpolished style, effective from his past fights, strength, resilience, and shock value to surprise his opponents. There is also a psychological game here. Step up to the plate, Khan was also an allusion to masculine power against that young up-and-comer, that he is no old fogey who could still take to the hoop seriously. To Paul, proving his mettle against an experienced practitioner and showing up the critics. This is a mental game as much as a physical one, and it will be interesting to see just how each fighter handles the pressure. So, what's the takeaway from all this? It's simple. In the world of sports, especially something as unpredictable as celebrity boxing, anything can happen. One moment you're gearing up for a historic fight. The next you're facing a $350 million lawsuit. It's a roller coaster of emotions, drama, and high stakes that keeps everyone hooked. As the dust settles, a few things become clear. This fight is a lot more than just fists. It's about fortunes, about legacies, about the future of celebrity boxing. Tyson, Paul, the courtrooms, or the ring banter won't be a second of dullness in this developing drama. The real victor of this fight may just be the story,